श्याम श्याम हरे गोपाल कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्ण
Welcome everyone to Yoga Body and Mind. My name is Lois Nesbitt. I've been teaching yoga out here on the East End for more than 30 years. I also teach in New York City and around the globe. But today I'm just happy to be bringing yoga back to my home turf. My intention with this program is two things: to talk about what we do when we practice yoga, because there's many different styles and techniques out there, and then why we practice, and finally to help you to find a yoga that works for you. So there'll be three different formats for this series. I'll have segments that are devoted to practice on the mat, in a chair, sometimes just in your street clothes, standing up. I'll have sessions that I call Yoga SOS, where I zoom in on specific body parts, common injuries, way to prevent and heal injuries that might have come from yoga or any other aspect of your life. And finally, little yoga talks again on the why, the ideas behind the yoga, so that hopefully you'll understand that yoga is more than cat and cow, up dog and down dog. So welcome, and let's get started. Welcome everybody to Yoga Body and Mind. Today, my name is Lois Nesbitt, and today we're talking about yoga for travelers. So we're filming this just after the holiday season, when a lot of you are out in cars, trains, and airplanes, moving around to visit family. We've had a long, cold winter. Everybody who can has been traveling south. But wherever you are, we live in a big country, and we are always traveling. Even in New York City, I'm on and off the subways all day long. So travel is hard on the body. We do things when we're traveling that we do anyway, but we tend to do them more intensely and for longer periods of time. Sitting is the big one. Sitting in airplanes, sitting in airports, sitting in taxis and car services, sitting on trains. So there's a lot of just being immobilized in a seated position, but also standing, waiting on lines, security check-in, waiting for the bus, waiting for the subway, uh, carrying bags and heavy stuff. I still can't believe the size of these suitcases that people haul up and down the subway stairs or the airport stairs, or the mothers with the stroller and the kid in the stroller. I don't know how this works, but anyway, it's very hard on the body. So I'm going to show you today, we're going to walk through this as my assistant, Missy Hargraves. She's going to be our model. I'm going to show you some simple things you can do for the areas that are most challenged by travel, which is hips, lower back, and shoulders. And we're going to do a series where you're in street clothes and you don't have the ability to get it down on the floor on a yoga mat. So you could do these things pretty much anywhere, from your kitchen to an empty gate at the airport. And then we'll do some things that if you have the luxury of rolling out a mat in your hotel room or wherever you are and doing a little stretching on the floor, we could go a little bit deeper. So we're going to get started with the lower body and standing. So come on up, Missy. And I might do some of these with you just because they're easy enough to do in our street clothes. So the first one is, we call it hula hooping. So you're going to stand with your feet a little bit wider than, well, about outer hip width apart, little bend in your knees, and you're just going to circle your hips as though you were hula hooping as a child. If you have a hula hoop, go ahead and use it. I did learn as an adult it's not as easy as it looks. And they also made the hoops a lot heavier than when we were little. They're not little plastic rings anymore, they're metal. So it's a great workout for your abdominal muscles. But this is super helpful for just loosening up the tight spots in your hips, whether or not you're traveling. So you're going to go around a few times in one direction, and then switch it out, circle the other way. And keep the knees soft and everything loose here. So these movements that we're doing now are actually from something called Tibetan yoga, a little different from Indian yoga. Not so big on alignment, much bigger on loose movements and just a free breath. Okay, and then you're going to keep the knees bent, feet a little wide, swing your arms side to side, and just get that twisting of the upper spine. Hips are going to stay facing forward, but your ribs, your shoulders, your neck, and your head are going around. And again, just nice and loose, keep everything soft. And back to center. Now, we're not in the best place for this, but we're going to swing one leg forward and back. It might be helpful to hold on to something if you want to hold on to the side of the wall there, Missy, and just swing a leg forward and back. So you're going to stand sideways so you don't kick the wall. So just to open up the front and back of the legs. So we're trying to get at all the deep, thick, powerful muscles around the pelvis that tend to get locked down when we are immobile for too long. I used to tell my students that they should move at least 1 hour every day, which I still think is a good idea. But I switched it out a few years ago to say you should move at least once every hour. Get up and do something, because after an hour, you're in lockdown. Switch legs, swing forward and back. And the upper body's not moving here, it's just the legs, so we want to make sure that stretch goes into the front of the left hip and the back of the left buttocks and thigh. And then back to center. Don't forget your ankles. Roll out your ankles. Circle around and reverse the circle. And switch legs and circle out that ankle. And reverse. Okay, and then moving up the spine, so a little bit more mid-torso, upper body, hands on your hips, knees and feet, knees bent, feet a little wide again. Circle your upper body from your whole spine really, from your tailbone up through the top of your head, circling around as though you were stirring a pot. So now we're getting hips, the full length of the spine, and up into the shoulders, upper back, neck and head. If this one makes you a little dizzy, you can experiment with trying it eyes open or eyes closed. Go more slowly. And reverse the circle, take it around the other way. And back to center. And then arms up overhead, shake out your arms, wrists, elbows, fingers. Surprising amount of tension that can build up in the hands, texting, typing, holding those heavy bags, writing. And then release and roll your shoulders up, back, and around. Big shoulder circles. This one's super helpful. Even if you're just sitting at your desk, give this one a shot every hour or so. You'll find you're much more awake and alert. Holding tension in the body, it's a drain. It also restricts muscles, restricts blood flow, restricts oxygen. And before you know it, you feel exhausted. All right, and then keeping the shoulders still, just roll your head in a circle, releasing the muscles of your neck. Another big tension spot. So again, you don't have to wait for a travel day to do these. Anytime you feel that your body is getting stiffened up or you just feel fatigue that you can't quite identify, get a big boost from these. And then circle the head the other way. And come back to center. Now a little more targeted for the shoulders. This one, you're going to want to have a wall nearby. So Missy's going to stand one arm length away from the wall, palms on the wall at shoulder height, and then walk your hands up the wall. Yep. And then slide your hips back toward the middle of the room. So it looks like downward facing dog at the wall. First action is she's going to keep her hands exactly where they are, but pull down on the hands, pull energetically down. And what that's doing is it's helping to root the head of the arm bone into the shoulder socket to secure this joint as she gets a stretch all the way down the side of the body and all the way up the arm to the hands. Keeping the hands where they are now, push the hands up and away. So as you root back from the hips, so now we're going for distance, lengthening of even the shoulder joint itself, and then pull down again. And press up, reach up. And one more pull down. Now, any of these you can do with as much time or as little time as you have. Nothing sacred about that. Just do what works. Again, last one, press up. Nice. Okay, and then walk in a little closer if you need to. Elbows to the wall. And hands should just be shoulder width apart here, and elbows as well. Yep. Ideally, arm bones, forearms parallel. If your elbows bow out a little bit, that's all right. Just means your shoulders are a little tight. And then actually you're going to need to walk back a little further, I guess, and shift your hips back again. So now it's like downward facing dog, if you know that, but on the elbows. And it's going to be, you're going to feel the stretch move a little bit more into the upper shoulder, top of the shoulder, upper arm, and breathing here. So I find this one a little deeper. That's why we did the first one with the straight arms. Keep the breath moving, soften the face, release your jaw. So travel is also disruptive. We go into unknown places, and when we do, the body tenses up to adjust to something it doesn't know. So continue to just breathe out, exhale that unconscious contraction. Okay, well, come up a little straighter, Missy. Lower your left hand down by your side. Right arm is going to stay on the wall. Walk in so that you're standing upright, and then walk your feet as far around to the left as you can until you feel a stretch. Front of the right shoulder now and right pec. So right bicep and right upper chest muscles. Chin is lifted, shoulders back, good. And you go just as far as you need to get a release. You're not forcing the body, you're encouraging it to open, knowing, as I said, that it's already dealing with the challenges of travel. Great. Switch sides, spin around, left arm goes on the wall, right arm by your side, and then turn your whole belly, chest, everything as far to the right as you can. So how far do you go? Not so far that it's agony, that you feel the body fighting back, and not so close in that nothing's changing. So there's a little sweet spot there. It'll change from day to day. It'll change from breath to breath. So paying attention, really important. Good. And release back to the center. And I just realized Missy's a little tall for the wall for this one, so I think I'm going to demonstrate. So the next one would be walking your arm, standing sideways. So I've got my right hand up the wall and my right hip facing the wall. And what I'm going to do is keep the hand as high as I can, but pull down on it. And then sway the hips to the wall, head to the left. And then hips to the left, head to the wall. I'm going to inhale when my head goes to the left and exhale when it goes to the right. Again, I'm pulling down on the hand. Now, I've got my hand over the top of this wall, but it doesn't matter. Even if your palm were flat on the wall, just like you did before, pull down to keep the arm integrated into its socket, but sway side to side to get that opening. So same idea, side to side. After you've gone back and forth a few times, as many as it feels good, hold with the head to the left and breathe in and breathe out. And then hold with the head to the right. Same thing. Legs are in a Tadasana, so they're active, pressing down as you get the work in the shoulders. And then again, you switch it out. Left arm up and left hip to the wall. And same thing, slide your hips to the left, head to the right, and head to the left, hips to the right. Back and forth. Now, you should be relatively close to the wall, but flexible people, you might have to get a little closer. So just work that out. As long as you're feeling the stretch go all the way up that left side, you're in good shape. You might start to notice which part of the torso needs more of a stretch, outer hip, shoulder, the lats, the ribs. After you've gone back and forth a few times, head stays to the right and breathe. And then over to the left and breathe. And release out. And since those were long holds on each side, roll the shoulders in the middle. So that's a good little routine that you can do standing. If you don't have a wall, I'm a little shameless. I'll do yoga in places most people wouldn't. But I've been known to hold on to the luggage rack in the train and get a stretch that way, in which case you can actually do down dog And you can also curl back like this and open your chest and get a really nice stretch. If you have a table or a friend nearby, let's go up on the mat for this one, Missy. You can do a really nice stretch where you hold each other's forearms, or you hold the chair back or a table, and you walk back with knees bent, chest parallel with the floor, and pull. And this feels even better than doing some of the upright ones because you have the resistance of your friend and you're also body parallel with the mat. You're not dealing with gravity. So notice that Missy has her palms up and mine are down. So then if you have a friend and you're doing this, you switch it out so you get both rotations. And then right arm to right arm. Breathing in, breathing out. And left to left. And back to center. So a whole series, all standing. Feel good?
Oh, yeah.
Makes a real difference, right? Yeah. So that was literally about 10 minutes of just standing, stretching, doing things in your street clothes that'll really make the rest of your travel day so much easier. Now, as I mentioned, if you have a place where you can lay down a mat or you can get down on a floor in a hotel room, these are some other things you can do to help with the trials of travel. So, Missy, you're going to come to lie down on your back. And my first and favorite one always is windshield wipers. So knees bent, feet parallel, and swaying side to side. So I recommend this if you wake up in bed in the morning and your back is stiff, do this before you get out of bed. Good. And back to center. And then cross right ankle over left knee and interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. Bring the shape in. And since I'm here to help her, I'm going to give her a little extra adjustment. But this one you can hold, you can go side to side, or you can circle. So this will get at some of those butt muscles that get really tight when we're sitting. Gluteus medius, minimus, maximus, IT band. Okay, and switch legs. And reverse. Okay. And then both legs up in the air, and you're going to shake out, do the Tibetan. Yep, that's it. Arms can just be by your sides. Okay. And then legs out in a wide straddle, and cross in the middle, and come back up, and cross the other side over. Yep, good job. So nice and loose. Great. Okay, and back to center. Bend both knees, take hold of the back of your thighs. We're going to massage the spine by rocking forward and back, rocking up to sit and back down onto your back. So you can come all the way up to sit, yep, and then all the way back down. And again, just be a little bit loose and playful with these like a kid. So we don't want to be all rigid in yoga alignment. Just kind of shake and move and think more about the breath than the anatomy. Good. Okay. And then rock all the way up to sit and come around onto all fours for cat and cow. Now, cat and cow is probably my favorite all-body warm-up because you're working now not just the hips, but the shoulders as well. So she's inhaling down, exhaling up, and just getting a massage, not just hips and shoulders, but the entire length of the spine. I would walk your hands just a little further forward. So if your body is stiff, give yourself a little extra length here. Everything will open more easily and more quickly. So again, getting that breath into the front and sides of the body, front and back of the body rather, and then to get it into the sides of the body, after your next inhale down, exhale, twist to look over your right shoulder and widen your right sitting bone. So she's making a C shape to the right. Inhale through the middle and exhale, look over the left shoulder, widen the left sitting bone. And back and forth, exhaling to the side, inhaling to center, beautiful. So you get that nice sense of stretch on the side ribs also opening up. All right, and then back to center, and then big toes together, knees wide apart, wide-legged child. So she's going to walk forward on her fingertips. So come even further forward so your sitting bones don't touch. Yeah, all the way forward, way out in front of your mat. That's it. And come up on your fingertips, Missy, so the shoulders are lifted. Shoulders lift, but heart softens down. And then she's pulling, just like when I held her hands and she held mine, pulling from fingertips to hips to get the maximum amount of stretch down both sides of the body. Again, no gravity here. You're horizontal, so there's no resistance, weight pressing down. Great. Lift up and walk over on a diagonal to the right and pull back. So I call these like cat after a nap stretches. These are all things that should feel good, as though you're just gently massaging the body into a place of ease, the way a cat wakes up from a nap and naturally does little stretching movements. Back to center. Over to the left, yes. And then back to the middle. And walk your hands back under one hand length in front of your shoulders. We're going to go up to down dog, so knees and feet parallel. Lift the knees up and pedal out the feet. Now, if you've been traveling like on a 14-hour flight or something, you probably don't want to start with down dog. The shoulders and the hamstrings may be very tight, but she's already been doing a lot of warm-up, so this should feel, again, really good, especially if you're comfortable, you have a steady yoga practice. This is like home base. I would rather be in down dog than standing or sitting for any length of time. Okay, inhale, bend both knees, and exhale, slowly straighten. And again, you can, the holdings and the repetitions up to you, depending how your body feels, how your energy is, what you need at the moment. All right, and then bending your knees, walk your feet forward and come up to stand. And just turn to face the front again. Feet parallel in Tadasana. Raise your arms up overhead, hook your thumbs, reach up and over to the right. And since I'm here to give her a little extra love, I'm just going to press her hips down as she reaches up and over to get a little more grounding and a little more lift. Inhale back up to center. Exhale over to the left. Back up to center. Interlace your fingers behind your head. Curl back, head into hands. Good. Let the arm bones be heavy in their sockets, the head heavy in the hands, but the breastbone lifting. And then come all the way back up. Raise your arms up overhead and exhale them down by your sides. Okay, we just add one standing pose here, feet wide apart, hands to hips, like wide enough for warrior two. That's it, Missy, yeah. And then hands to hips, inhale, lengthen forward, exhale, bow, fingertips to the mat, or blocks, or a piece of furniture if you're in a hotel room. Feet parallel, not turned in. Good, and just let the head hang heavy here. Let gravity do the work. Feel that nice opening in the back of the legs. And again, I'm going to tip you just a little further forward on your feet. Good. Great. All right, coming back up, hands to hips, and all the way back up to stand. Step your feet toward each other. Shake out. Good. Now, I mentioned that travel is hard on the body. It's also hard on our energy, our nervous systems. So a couple of restorative poses, Shavasana and a restorative pose to help with that. So the first one is if you have a wall and a bolster or a thick couch cushion, something you can, or a rolled up yoga mat, something you can slide under your back, you're going to place it just a tiny bit away from the wall so that the hips can sink down. You're going to sit on the bolster and then turn your body sideways and slide your feet up the wall. Now, if getting into this pose is more trouble than it's worth, forget the bolster and just lie with your feet up the wall. But the beauty of the bolster is that it's the pelvis is higher than the vagus nerve. It sends signals to the body to soften and release. There's a little bit of pressure on the heart, and that triggers the heart to slow down, pressure to release. Palms turn up. And then this is also, if you have the swelling in the legs that often happens with air travel, all the blood now can flow down out of the hips and legs, feet and back into the heart, and feels great. If you have a heavy sandbag or something you can put on your feet even better, because it grounds the legs and it feels even more restorative. 5 minutes recommended on this if it's new to you. If you're more adept or more familiar with it, you can hold 20 minutes. Super helpful for calming. But I'm going to bring Missy out because we have to try one other thing. Yes. So roll over, Missy, and come back slowly up to stand. And we're going to the middle, up to the pink mat. This is a Shavasana position. Again, if you have the standard yoga equipment, so much better. If not, you can improvise with pillows and blankets rolled up and towels. The higher roll is going under your knees. And then you're going to have to come up to sit for a sec again, because this roll, lower one, is going right underneath her shoulders so that the shoulders can go out in a T-square. Okay, there we go. So what's happening here is the pelvis is pulling down to the floor because the knees are up and the chest is up. The shoulders are relaxing back because the blue mat here is providing just a little lift for the chest. And then if you wanted to get fancy, you can even put a smaller roll under the neck, support the curve of the neck. So this slightly different positioning of Shavasana, if you are fatigued, say you just arrived at your destination or you've just gotten home, lying in this position for anywhere from 3 minutes to 20 minutes can be incredibly restorative. It facilitates the flow of what the yogis call prana, what we would call oxygen or blood flow through the body. So it's going to make you feel much better when you emerge than if you just curled up on the nearest couch and tried to sleep curled up like a snail. So a little extra time to do the setup, but more than worth it for the payoff. Okay, I'm going to have you slowly roll to one side, Missy, come back up to sit. And the last thing I would suggest, if you just want to sit in a comfortable cross-legged position, is breathing. So if you don't have any space or time to move around, say you are sitting in your airplane, and you're waiting for takeoff, or there's a delay, or it's just a long flight, you can breathe. And I would suggest the simplest breath of all. It's a deep 3-part breath, which is both grounding and calming and gives you more oxygen. So you would exhale all the air out of your body. So you're just sitting in your airplane seat, wherever you are. And then inhale, see your body like a vessel that's going to fill with water. So you're pouring the breath down into the bottom of the vessel. It fills the low belly first, the pelvic floor and the low belly. Then you start to fill up the vessel with the middle of the torso. And finally, you fill all the way up to the top, to the collarbones. And then as you exhale, the water moves out of the belly, the middle of the torso, and the upper chest. Inhale, it comes back down into the base of the body, fills up the middle and the top. Exhales from the base to the middle to the top. Inhaling in 3 parts, bottom, middle, top. Exhale, bottom, middle, top. So what's going on here now is you're going to breathe slowly. The 3 parts can flow one into the next. The breath is even. When you're breathing in now, your diaphragm is descending, making more space for a deeper breath, more oxygen, more prana, more energy, but also that weight, that grounding, the pelvis rooting. And then the release when the breath slowly glides back out of the body. So calming and also enlivening, the best of both worlds, and especially when you're traveling. So that can be done anywhere, anytime, except when you're driving and you have to focus. But if you're a passenger and you're seated passively or you're waiting in the waiting line, room, whatever, give this a try. Hands in front of your heart, prayer position. Namaste, everyone, and safe travels wherever you are. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. If you'd like to find out more about me and my yoga offerings, please visit my website, which is loisnesbityoga.com. If you missed an episode, you'd like to replay an episode, or you want to weave some of these practices into your daily routine, please check out the archived episodes. You can find them on my yoga channel on YouTube, which is Lois Nesbitt Yoga. They're also available on the LTV East Hampton yoga website, which is ltveast.com. ltveasthampton.org, and the LTV YouTube channel, which is LTV East Hampton. See you next time.
LTV's programming is made possible by the New York State Council on the Arts, with the support of the Office of the Governor and the New York State Legislature.